This is the Michael Brighton Show. Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. And today I'm joined with Barak Zilberberg, who is a philanthropist and entrepreneur, and is also a 2024 Republican candidate for the President of the United States. So, Barak, thanks for joining me.
Yes, hi, how are you, Michael? Good morning on my side, and good afternoon, late afternoon on yours. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on your podcast, and I'm looking forward for our conversation wholeheartedly. Oh, and by the way, I'm not in the Republican Party. I'm nonpartisan. I'm in the middle.
Okay.
So I'm not on either side, just straight down the middle.
So is that classed as independent then? Because I did read somewhere
Right.
that you were a Republican initially. So why did you decide to shift?
Well, the thing is there's too much factors to the right and too many factors to the left on both parties, and they're not bringing it in to the American people. And it has to be a time that someone can bridge the gap. It's not about parties here. It's about the country. It's about the American people. And that's where everything correlates. And also adhering to our constitutional rights, our freedom, everything and the beautiful fundamentals of our country here in the USA. That's what it's all about. So, I'm coming out, I'm sticking out my neck, not only as a US citizen, but, in order to straighten things out here as a philanthropist, as an advocate, as an entrepreneur, whereas we have to run the country as a business. Numbers are very important. Numbers never lie. And we have to run the country in a business sense where it makes sense, dollars and cents.
It does make me think actually that there's been a bit of an issue, I guess, when it comes to politics. And whether it's left or right or in the middle or for or against things, it's all becoming very us versus them. And I wonder if you'd like, to say your piece about that and why you think politics needs to change.
Yes. Well, basically, the whole world consists in our nation, if you think about it. People migrate into this wonderful country wanting to be part of this wonderful country because of the opportunities that we have here to grasp. So therefore, we have a melting pot here in the United States, and it must be understood that we're all equal. No matter what race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, it's all irrelevant. We have great laws here in this country, whereas if we adhere to the laws and we obey as to the factors of the laws here in this country, and you do the right things, you can progress greatly and move to heights unimaginable here. There's no limits here in this country. So, and it is a great country. We have our freedom, we have our rights. They're trying to take that away from us, but under no circumstances, nobody should take away our freedom. And that's why everybody comes here to this great country for the freedom, for the opportunities of hard work and grasping on and moving on up. That's what it's all about. Yeah. So I'm sorry, your question was, sir, I kind of went on a tangent, it seems like.
Yeah, it was about like the reason why politics needs to change and
Yeah,
why you think things need to be done differently.
yeah, absolutely. And then, we're in debt. We're in almost $19 trillion more in debt, and then we're just growing each and every day. We're not getting out of the hole. And that's because we're not running this country as a business. And then there's people that are entering this country illegally and not even contributing or paying taxes into our nation, and we're subsidizing them as well. There's things that have to make sense. We have to correlate those issues and factors and bring it on in. Get out of debt, pay our debts to everybody, run this country in a surplus of money, and provide for us, the people, domestically here. So there's a lot of issues here, just as in other countries, but here more so. Our homeless population is growing. Affordability is not there. People can't meet. They can't make ends meet. And it's hard out there, and people are going out in the street. And I'm talking to you about professional people who have studied, in their lives. They're teachers, they're nurses, and they're homeless. Vets are homeless, and we're one of the richest countries in the nation, of course, in debt. But we should be able to help those people that are in need and get them back into the communities, working and providing for our communities, and never giving up. Now, if you notice, none of the leaders that are in position mentioned the homeless. I never heard of them mention homeless. It never came up in any of the presidencies. And when I become president, commander in chief of the United States of America, that issue will be brought into light, and we're going to go ahead and surplus nonprofit organizations to subsidize and help, in the needs of mental illness, homeless, and also in research and development to cure cancer and diseases. There's no reason why we cannot cure cancer, or why people are going through chemotherapy and doing all these treatments, because of it's lucrative, obviously. And I think it's wrong, injecting poison into people, and then they have no choice because they have the cancer. It should be curable by now. I mean, we're already in the 20th century, and not to mention 2024, we should be ahead of the game. We're lacking behind from other countries. We should be ahead of the game. We should also have fast transit systems to and from our cities, just like other countries. And we should manufacture our own goods here in the United States. 90% of our surplus of pharmaceuticals is coming from China and all different parts. Why are we drilling here and resourcing our oil? Why are we buying oil, abroad in other countries? I don't understand. Let's put our people to work here. Let's drill. Let's have our gasoline at $2 a gallon, maybe less, and still keep our families working, American families, and keep things moving economically in our nation. And that goes for the manufacturing as well, and the tech and the cybersecurity. There's a lot of things that is in need here in this country, and that's why I'm running as president of the United States of America. There has to be a face, and a face that someone or people or countries or leaders should take seriously, and I don't believe they are taking us seriously, and it's time they do.
What are your thoughts on this idea that a few people have and a few people came up with, and it's the idea that a lot of people in power, leaders, that sort of thing, they often say things to get elected, so to say. Whether it's a popularity contest I hear flowing around, or there's lots of cynical people out there, to be honest. And then when they're in office, they realize just how complicated the situation is and how difficult it is to make these decisions. Because a lot of people, I imagine, would want what you just said. And then I was like, okay, well, when you're in office, how easy or straightforward or possible are these things that you're wanting to change and wanting to happen?
Right. Well, to sit in the White House and wait till the bills comes on your desk, that's not the notion. The notion is going into Capitol Hill, going into the House of Representatives, going to the Senate, and moving around and advising both sides in the House, and Senate, and convince them as to, why we should move forward in this direction, and have them understand through communications and both sides and all sides. I'm just the middleman. I'm basically the third party here. I'm the broker making a deal. So, and as being a broker and making a deal and negotiating, we could do things very rapidly, quickly, efficiently, and they know if it passes, then it goes on my desk. I will sign it, because it's already negotiated. That's how it has to work. And and again, it's just what's right for the people. That's all what it is. It's the power here in the United States is of the people. If we don't have the people here, there is no economy, there is no nation, there is nothing. So people have to understand, and those that are in leadership positions, that they're to facilitate and work as public servants for the people. So with my experience and traveling and ongoing of hearing people's pains and wants and leadership and direction, uh, due to my past experiences and my ongoing experiences with people, I know where to move the needle, and that's for you, for the people. And that's what I'll do when I'm in the White House. Now, I also have a nonprofit organization called the Zilberberg Foundation, and I just bought a piece of property on Fremont Street, and there's two streets that are the most known in Las Vegas. One being Las Vegas Strip, and the other one is Fremont. Fremont is where it really started. If you go back in history, that's the street that started Las Vegas. So I have a piece of property there, and I'm already in negotiations with the school next door, because there's a school, and I'm in negotiations with actually City Council Olivia Diaz and also Michael Howe, head of planning, and they like my vision and my idea, and I'm going to build a public library called the Zilberberg Foundation Library. All right. So in the library, it's of course my foundation. We'll have a 3-story library, be beautiful, unbelievable, with a coffee shop in there. And we're going to also do tutorials, and it's going to be a library for all walks of life to enter, but more importantly, children. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we have all of the merchants and the intricacies of them, knowing what they don't teach in schools, such as, being financial independent, and how to earn, how to save, how to invest your money, and how to have the most impeccable credit, how to negotiate in buying your first home. And I'm gonna encourage for children to buy their first home, be homeowners, and I'll make it affordable for them as well. Because in my nonprofit, we do emphasize on affordable housing. I already know how to do it, and we have everything in place. So we'll have affordable housing they could enter once they learn the fundamentals. And also putting the children to work at age 13, so they gain experience, communication skills, and then we'll have bank accounts open so they could go ahead, and the vendors, their bosses, or whomever they're working for, can funnel the money into their account. They can't touch it at age 18. We're already figured out what their strengths, what their weaknesses, where their talents are. We know their talents. We know where to channel them and how they can succeed and flourish after high school. They're not confused. And meanwhile, they have savings in their account, so they could go ahead and put a down payment on their first home. In school, they don't teach those fundamentals, and that's what we're going to do. Furthermore, we're going to have a studio in the library, podcast studios. So, some kids are very vocally talented. They're talented. We need to channel them in the right directions as well, uplift everybody. And I'd like to, and I'm going into like a low income area with my library. So my goal is to uplift not only the community, the children, but uplift the whole area, and it'll be a whole different site over there, bringing things up. Now, as president, my goal is to have, instead of a 2 percentile of wealth, I'm looking to a 40 to a 50 percentile in wealth. Well, how do we do it? We do it through educational, giving the knowledge, the power, emphasis on education. Education for the real world. Just as I've been taught since I was a kid, the real world. There is no ifs, ands, or maybes. There is no imaginative world. It was all, it was real. It was to the core, and it's reality. And reality is great. You have to deal with reality. And reality challenges you, and you set the bar high. You challenge yourself, even going beyond the limits that you can even imagine. So I believe in everybody. The bottom line is I believe in everybody's strengths and talents, and I believe anybody could be whomever they want to, period.
I wonder what, because let's say all this happens. Let's say you build the library, everything goes ahead, no matter what it is. So things that may happen in the future that you want to create, that sort of thing. Let's say it all happens and everyone has the equality that we've been discussing. What happens then? So in this Zilberberg world where everything is everyone has equal opportunity, equal ability to do the thing that they want to do, what happens then?
Well, what happens is everybody rises together, and we're in peace and we're in harmony. We should also broker through initiatives and treaties with other countries of peace. There's no reason to facilitate all this weaponry and for them to fight, and there's bloodshed and there's loss of lives and the injured and the disabled out of the outcome. And furthermore, the decimated, structures. Now you have to go build and repair and fix and maybe even, demolish and, build all new. So the whole thing doesn't make sense. Words are easier to distribute rather than missiles. That's my notion. And then why don't we put the factors of those missiles into our educational system for our children, and for our future. We're going to be gone sometime. Who's going to carry on? Who's the next generations? Our children. And then they have children and further children and generations and millions of years to come. The world should be preserved, as long as it can. That's the bottom line. Yeah, it's just a matter of sitting with the leaders, understanding what each side wants, and coming to a happy medium. That's it. Hey, you give some from your end, you give some from your end. We finish this thing. You're not the happiest, but we're in the middle and we're at peace. So let's sign it, let's ink it, let's put it in history books. That's what it's all about. It's a very delicate time now. I believe we're in World War III now. People say we're not, but yeah, Iran is already in the war. We're in the war. Israel is in the war. The Palestinian people are in the war. Furthermore, Ukrainian, the Russian, everything is all a mix here, and then we have the NATO. It could get ugly. It really could, and I think instead of putting gasoline in the fire, we need to extinguish the fire. We have to utilize water. Water will extinguish the fire. You don't put gasoline. And I think there's a lot of leaders that just put gasoline in the fire and erupt it even, further. That's my notion. This is, what I like to do. Additionally, I was mentioning about the project of the library, but we're looking to build 100 units on the parcel as well, so we can facilitate for affordable rental housing. And I was, inferring the affordable rental housing for teachers. So I'd like to facilitate for the teachers to the percentage of the building as being affordable housing for that.
When you think about it, it sounds a lot more collaborative, a lot more working with one another, coming to some kind of agreement, possible compromise, that sort of thing. And a lot of the issues that you've mentioned that you're proposing to solve, they've been around for a while. We've had the solutions for a while. It sounds like we've already got the ability to solve these things. So, in your mind, why hasn't it been done before? Because I'm kind of assuming then that the problem is actually a human-based problem. The problem is how we communicate, how we work together, the competitiveness, the fact that we all somewhat want things for ourselves in a way so that we benefit, so that we're happy, so that we're at peace ourselves. It sounds very much like a person problem, a human problem, as opposed to a purely kind of numbers problem.
Yes. No, absolutely. Well, everybody has to, get rid of their egoism. These leaders have to come down and be grounded and humbleize themselves. It's very important to be humble. And for a lot of people, that's not possible, unfortunately. So when you have the ego in it, and you have, the hatred and the revenge and all these fundamentals, then and there's a lot of disruption. Not only that, I mean, there's a lot of corruption, within the systems as well. I'm sure in leadership, in any administration that was here, none of them were straight. They're taking bribes. People are funneling, millions of dollars to these leaders, and they're just channeling in the notions that are in the wrong directions because of the money they're facilitating for the person you have to facilitate. If you take money from someone, that you have to facilitate whether it's right or wrong. And I believe you shouldn't take money from anybody. I believe you should lead with your heart and what is right for the people. Yeah, I don't want money. I don't want anything. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't want anything. All I want is it to be right and no wrongs. So if it's wrong, I'm just walking out the door. We're done with the conversation. If it's right, I listen, I'll sit. And even if it's wrong, I listen and sit into the conversation. I could take bullets and arrows. I could take anything, and basically, if it benefits the people, I'm in it. If it doesn't, I just simply won't. And that's where we have to. That's what the leaders should, put boundaries, and have some integrity and dignity in themselves. It's like selling your mother for $1. Would you sell your mother for $1? I wouldn't sell my mother
No.
for nothing. Why would I want to sell my country, for $1 or anything? Why would you want to sell the people, the American people, the people that are so loyal and faithful and work hard and contribute so much money to this nation and taxes and tax revenue? Where's your loyalty as a leader? So that's basically in a nutshell of my perspective of the whole thing here. And meanwhile, we're sending billions of dollars to not only to Ukraine, we're sending now to Israel, we're sending over to humanitarian aid for the Palestinians. We're sending on both sides. It's just, I mean, we have to facilitate. I'm not saying because somebody stirred it up, as they say, and I'll tell you very frankly, Benjamin Netanyahu, which is the prime minister of Israel, people want to overthrow him from leadership. And what he did is also Biden too. I mean, Biden, people are not happy with Biden. I mean, economically, people are hurting here in the United States. They're hurting. We're at the utmost numbers in debt, $1.1 trillion of debt. People are, you think they're making the money that they're making and living and facilitating their lives. They're taking loans on their homes. Okay, they're dipping into their equity. And then they're also on credit card. The credit card debt is an all-time high. So there's no affordability. People are pinching, yet we're sending money for wars. And I mean, it's not beneficial for both sides, And I just don't understand the logistics. I do understand what it is because, like I said, Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want to be overthrown from his throne and his leadership. He wants to stay in position. So what do? You create a war. You plan this thing out. You plan it with Hamas. He's in good relations with Hamas too. Don't think he isn't. They talk all the time. They play the game. Everybody plays the game. They're billionaires. Benjamin Netanyahu is a billionaire. He's a corrupt politician. And that goes for Hamas too, billionaires sitting over there and creating this war. And then meanwhile, Joe Biden's in this too. So Joe Biden wants to get reelected now. So he's in compliance with the wars and everything. It's a distraction. So when you're in positions of war, then whoever's already in place of the war, they're thinking, okay, now they can't throw me out of power. I have to stay in position because we're at war. We're in a turmoil. Who's going to take the steering wheel at this point, So everything is strategic, and those are the notions in this political game, and it's all politics and it's disgusting. It really is, it just saddens me, the whole thing, And we don't have leaders. Not only they're corrupt, but they don't have a sense of common sense. Just simply common sense. I mean, 1 + 1 is equal to 2, right? I mean, just common sense. You go and you drive in your car, right? And nobody tells you, you have a direction of where you're going, but there's certain circumstances that happen when driving a car. And you got to be on offensive, defensive side. Same thing in life. There's no instructions. You just got to be very, very sharp, witty, and know as to where the directions are going at the time and the changes and move with them, and understand how to move with them the most efficient, productive, and a solution where you actually put out a fire, it's really neat. And that's what I've been doing all my life as an entrepreneur. Every day I'm thrown with situations, with circumstances. Life isn't like hokey-dory, it's not flowers out there. The fact remains is that we all have problems. I have problems, you have problems, everybody has problems. But it's the way we solve them. We have the problem coming to us, and what we do is we dissect the problem. So you do the process of elimination. There's certain process of eliminations of the problem until you find the solution. And you find the solution quickly, effectively, get it out of the way, next problem, next problem, next problem. So I go head on with the problems. I have no problem with problems. I love problems because without problems, There is no solutions that is needed, and plus the fact that there is no interpretation and economic growth without problems. If you don't have problems, then simply you don't get ahead in the ways you need to, whether it's financially or mentally, physically, in any which way. Is what you're intaking into your mind, into your soul, into your body. And it's very important that the person has to be self-sufficient. A person must uh, be self-sufficient upon themselves, know who they are, love themselves. If you love yourself, and you can love others. If you can help yourself, you could help others as well, you know. So first is helping yourself, being financially independent, holding your own weight. Once you've accomplished that, then you want to, if you want to build a family, you want to have children, you want others to depend on you, then you're able to facilitate. The same thing in anything in life, in anything you put your mind to, wherever you want to go and where you want to be.
I'm really curious about how you make decisions. So whether it's judging something as right or wrong, that sort of thing, how do you make your decisions? And then you brought up things like some politicians may be corrupt, they're taking deals from other countries to allow certain things to happen, that sort of thing. What if that at least shows to be starting to happen to you? And people are trying to manipulate you, get you to agree to certain things. Because I'm imagining this being a thing that's been happening for generations. What if that starts to happen to you? Like, what happens then? What if you're having to go against almost everybody else to be able to do this thing that deep down you know to be right? So, like, for a 2 or 3 part question there, but how do you make decisions? And then what if people or countries or other leaders are trying to pull you away from those decisions?
Right. Well, basically, uh, the decision making it's very simple for me. As I said, I go head on with the decisions that are to be made. I make them pretty much on the spot, but sometimes I need to think and sleep on it. So I take about a day or two and then decide. Let it settle in because it's a little bit a ways of what my thinking is, but then I always take everything into perspective and weigh it. Depends on also the matter and the issue too, you know. The things that are easy, you could, make the quick decisions as needed, and you're doing it, in a productive way, and it's solved. Those are easy. The ones that are more head-on in difficulty situations, whereas especially when it's millions and billions of people, not only millions of people in this country, but billions around the world, people need to understand that if you're in leadership, and especially a president of the United States, uh, you're not only the CEO of the United States, you're the CEO of the world, you know. Um, so you have to be in great relations. How I have achieved and solved a lot of my decision making is because of me having the relationships that I have in my spheres, in my workplace, within my people that work for me, directly, indirectly, just having wonderful relationships with people, and that goes for leaders around the world. As being a president of the United States, you have to have great relationships with each country. It doesn't matter, if there's differences, amongst our country and others. It's a matter of respect, and acknowledging and ascertaining the information and adapting to the countries and the cultures that everything correlates with that particular country. I have friends that are, multi diverse in different ways, and I relate to them very well. I know their culture, I know their backgrounds, I know the history of um, each religion, uh, ethnicities, what they went through. So all of that comes to play, as to the upbringings of, people in different countries. So you have to be sharp. You have to understand that that is the fact that it's multicultural and respect one another. Be friends. Be in the best relations with the leaders, so you could get a lot more done, and you could communicate effectively in a respectful way. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, I'm in a lot of conferences. I say I have to sleep on it. Give me a day and figure this out. And then tomorrow I wake up differently. I have a whole different perspective because when you saturate and intake all of that information, sometimes you just gotta digest it, just like the food that we eat. We go ahead and intake food and our digestive system is working to get it all digested and out. And then same thing in everything, in anything you do. So yeah, that's the fact. And making the right decisions. And I've made the right decisions in life. I made wrong decisions. I'm not perfect. There's nobody that's perfect out there. But what I've learned is I've learned from other people's successes and people's failures, and I've learned from those people as to what decisions we should make in past history and decisions they made, and the paths that they went, and then personal experiences as well that I encumbered in my life. So it all correlates to the decisions that are to be made that are effective.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because in the position of power, as president, you're there to essentially solve problems that there aren't many people in the position to solve. And then if anyone has any major problems, you're the last person that can make these decisions and sign off on things. And it's making me think, well, what happens if a decision could potentially have negative consequences for a certain kind of person or country? What happens then? There must be so much that goes into these decisions, so much thought process that goes in, the different consequences, sometimes long-term consequences. How do you balance all of that? It sounds like an impossible job.
Oh, no, no. I mean, you have to be built for it and born with it. And I tell you right now, you have to be young enough to deal with it too. I mean, look at the front runners now in the United States. Supposedly, it looks like it's Biden and then it's Trump, right? I mean, they're working together as one. It's not like they're not working together. Each one addresses each other and media and all this stuff. It's all strategic. Bottom line is they're older men. Uh, Personally, I think they should be in a convalescent home. That's what I believe. We need we need a fresh human being in office. Okay. And interesting enough, I mean, I'm 53 years old. I have three adult kids, being 28, 25, 20. And then now I have a newborn. I have a newborn, well, not newborn, she's already almost 2 years old in September. And now I have another child. And I just found out yesterday that I'm having a boy. So I have
Wow.
a girl and a boy. Yeah. So, I mean, The bottom line is, I'm in all of the generations. If you think about it, I'm not a baby boomer generation. That's my father, but I've learned a lot from the baby boomers. I've learned a lot from all the generations, so I go down all the way to Gen Z as well. So I could correlate with all different ages and brackets, and yeah, I'm changing diapers just as all the parents out there facilitating for their children. And you know what? It was baby boomers at the time, but I believe this generation should be named Corona boomers, the pandemic boomers. Because it's very surprising. China, they're now they're encouraging to reproduce, which they limited for one child per family, but now they're crying for more children all of a sudden. So I just encourage, if you could reproduce, bring more beautiful human beings in this world. And I believe you should be responsible as a parent. Parenting is a serious job, and marriage as well. And I believe we should also have educational fundamentals regarding marriage and being a parent. Very important before entering even into it, even thinking about it, learning about it as how to be successful in those subjects is very important, because you want your kids to come out, great. I mean, of course, it's not your say. In the end of the day, once they're older, they do whatever they want to do, but it's your job in the beginning to kind of set the foundation and the fundamentals. And also in respect to your spouse, respecting one another, and heading in both heading in the same direction. It's very important, not one against each other. It doesn't work. And choosing the right partner in your life is very important too. It's a key factor if you're in a relationship and you want to move on with children and a family life. So yeah, and it squares you up. I mean, it squares me up, keeps me in line, keeps me responsible, on my tippy toes, edgy. I never like to feel comfortable. I always like to feel on the edge. The more I feel on the edge, the more changes, the more I move, the more I adapt to things, the more I progress. And that's how I work.
So, what is the biggest or best lesson that the younger generation has taught you, and then the older generation as well? So let's go younger and older.
Well, the older and the younger are two. I mean, it's a ways away. So I like to interpret some of the fundamentals of the olders a little bit into the younger, and a little bit of the younger to the older. In other words, teaching the children of hard work, of blood, sweat, and tears for whatever you're passionate, because bottom line is to sit all day in social media and the computer and play, and the gamers who they just game all day. There is no progress in that. Versus going and actually putting effort, going to work, and making money, getting out of trouble. Working is, I never saw anybody die from working. I mean, nobody died from working. You wake up in the morning, you have to be somewhere at a certain time, you have to report somewhere, whether it's on your own or you have to report to yourself or to your boss, one or the two. You work within your day, you go ahead and you make money. If you're not distracted and you're not in trouble and you're making money. Hopefully you could save some of that money so you could invest it so that money can work for you in the end of the day. So it's not a problem whatsoever. Getting enough sleep, eating right, and being alert and awake, the time period that you're working, and give it your best. and be the best in what you do is very important. Being the utmost best of your subject and your passion, and that's how you'll succeed. Now, um, basically interpreting those values into our children, I think we're going to bridge the gap of poverty. We're gonna get out of poverty, and we'll get the poverty class or the lower class that are in poverty and distress into the middle class into the wealth and where we are in the country of the 2 percentile in wealth. Teaching him literacy and health as well is very important. Very important. You should, I believe the food that we intake is very important, what we put in our bodies, and understanding how much food we put in our bodies. And we have to discipline ourselves within our bodies, within our soul. We have to put limitations and understand what we can intake and how much, and what we need to intake, and understanding our bodies, as a whole. If you have that subject in line, you have no problem. You're fit, you're alert, everything's in place, and you that is part of success, uh, and not abusing your body, and getting rid of all the drugs and all of the illegal stuff that's coming into our country, all the compounds and the substances. Get rid of it. It's not needed. I'm wholeheartedly into cannabis. I believe cannabis is a wonderful plant, and I think it does really good. And my perspective, it's done good. It keeps you creative, collective, and it keeps me in line, and it calms you down too, at least I'm a calm person, but even more so, it calms me down, by me being calm and perspective, then my listening abilities are to a great extent. And listening is the most important thing you can have, the art of listening, not speaking, but actually, because the more you listen, the more knowledge you interpret, and the more situations you understand, so listening is a huge part in the whole ordeal.
I didn't realize you did cannabis, Barak. That's interesting. I've never met anyone that did it in a way that they're happy to talk about. It's usually something that's kept under wraps, but it's quite interesting that you're able to share that. So I do appreciate it. How do you intend on listening more? So if you think about the ways that people can listen to others, whether it's in conversation, going door to door, that sort of thing, it reminds me of the doorstep salespeople where they just go around and just talk about things and understand what your problems are and how what they're selling can help you solve those things. I imagine you've got some experience in this in your business ventures and things like that nature. So how do you intend on listening more? How do you do it?
You have to listen. You have to listen to everybody. um, more so than talking, more so than speaking. Listening, and many perspectives of a subject is very important too. When you go to a doctor, doctor tells you, checks you up and says, you have cancer. Are you going to trust that doctor because you spoke to only one professional, supposedly, right? A doctor. My whole notion is always get 3 or 4 opinions out there. Don't make a decision on the basis of one interpretation, or you've heard only one person. I think if you hear a raise of many people, then your decision making uh, would be in greater chances for your success. And that's how I've always led. I'm a contractor, I'm a builder as well. And I always get three, four estimates. I understand what this person is good in his proposal, what he's proposing, second, third. They all have a range of prices too, if you notice. There's high, middle, low. There's all type of situations, but understanding that the proposals are apples for apples. Okay, so they're doing equivalency of the job. They're all in line, but yet, one person's high and the middle and low. So I usually go with the one in the middle because of the fact that the high one is just high in the sky. I don't know what they're thinking about. Then you have the middle ones, and then you have the low ones. Low ones, chances are they won't make it. They'll lose money or, they'll walk off the job and then you'll be without a contractor. So the middle one, between the two will come in and they could, make profitability out of the transaction and you will get what is promised and the job will be done. So that's basically how I look at the perspectives. So listening, and you also learn from each prospect that you interview. You interview this contractor, that contractor, all three of them. They all give you different perspectives too. So you have to understand which one is the one that will fit your objective and getting to where you need to go. And cost efficiently and stretching as much as your currency to the max. I mean, you want to get value for your money. You want to stretch the dollar, and that's the whole goal. Beating the odds.
I appreciate you taking the time to share stuff like this because very often we don't really listen enough when we're trying to solve problems, get along, try to have this peaceful experience called life that we're all so committed to, and yet more and more I'm seeing less people getting along. We seem to be arguing a lot more. We seem to be just trying to get our point across a lot more, and it can become a mess. It can become a
That's
bit of a
right.
mess. And I wonder what your thoughts are on things like trying to be equal while also trying to get along with people that we may disagree with, have different viewpoints than us. How do we get around all of this? How do we get along with one another, given all of this? We're all different, we're all unique, we're all trying to get that across, so to speak, but we can end up in a position where we just end up agreeing to disagree the whole time. And we never seem to establish anything, we never seem to agree on anything, and we just stay that way. We just say, well, I'm not going to engage with this person because they disagree with me. When what you really should be doing, as you said, is listening, learning, trying to understand them, and then progress from there. Because I can't tell you how often my beliefs and my opinions have changed just by talking to someone and trying to understand things and try to change my own perspective and my own opinions on things. The more people you talk to, the more skilled you become, the more knowledgeable you become, the more, I guess, right in a way that you become by shaping things in that way. So how do you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first off, we have to respect each other. Really, I mean, it's not what's outside of a person, it's really what's inside of a person, and that's the soul. And I always look into the eyes of a person that I'm speaking with, and it's not about who they are, what they are. It's about knowing the fact of what kind of person is in front of you, what kind of soul are they, what, and that's by communication. So how are you able to know someone? I mean, I'm just the first time with you, just talking with you now, freely as though we know each other since kindergarten. It's about respect. I respect you, you respect me. We came on this podcast together, right? Not knowing each other. And here we are in a conversation. So you're listening, I'm listening, we're both listening. We're out of respect for each other. That's number one. Um, Yeah, and then later on, whatever you hear across the aisle of both sides, or whatever, how many sides or parties it may be, everybody's going to have a different perspective. It's just respecting their perspective, you know, respecting it, listening to them. So long that they're respectful and cordial, then there is a situation here. But if they're abrupt or they're disrespectful, or they cuss you out, or they come on the wrong side, then, I mean, that's a little bit too much. That's way too much. And I've, in times, I mean, no, in my life, I mean, nobody really have come to me in a sense of cussing me out, or, because whatever you portray to people, and that's what you get back. There's no free lunch. So I'm always very respectful towards people, and I honor people, and I love people, and I give people the benefit of the doubt. Now, if they perhaps, after I respect them and they're unrespectful towards me, and I keep respecting, and I always will respect no matter what, and that's just my nature, even however. But if it gets in a heated moment, then I have to walk away. I have to walk away. But usually I always sit in all the conversations. Everybody feels comfortable with me. I give them a respectful, a very sense of respect, and honesty and transparency and straightforwardness, where everybody could relate to. And that's the art of me, basically. I just started I already am on board with my first book. So we wrote yesterday. They're writing the first chapter for me, and it'll be a very interesting book. And I suggest everybody, once it goes on the shelves, to pick one copy up. It'll be an amazing book. I believe through my book of real life experiences that I had, uh, I hope I could touch millions of people out there, and and setting and steering them in the right direction, where they have hope, they have faith, uh, and they have success in the subjects that they want to be in. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I'm not perfect. I've had a lot of successes as well. But if I didn't have the failures, I wouldn't be where I am today, and the successes that I'm in. And yeah, along the way, you have to take the hits. You have to be able to be resilient. No matter if it was a good day or a bad day, the next day will be better. If this today wasn't the best day for you, there's always tomorrow, and tomorrow is a brighter day. Every day brings its own day, and you have to take it day by day. And a person has to look at the total perspective, not look at it day by day. In other words, measure it by week, measure it by month, measure it by year. If you have grown within the month, you've grown within the year, year over year, then you're doing very well, and that's what you have to look at. And you can't give up. If you're passionate about something and you love something within your heart and you believe in yourself, you have to do it, and to have regrets afterward because of the fact that you didn't do it, that's, you shouldn't live with regrets. You should do everything within your heart, whatever you're passionate about, and just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it.
What'll go down as the, I guess, failure that had the best lessons in it? So, what was the thing that you failed at, but you were able to come back stronger, learn the biggest lessons? What would that situation be, and what were the lessons that you learned from that?
Well, life is a lesson. Um, we're living day by day, minute by minute, second by second, by the milliseconds. It's all a lesson. It's all experience. Yeah, it doesn't help to be down. There's no time to be down. You know, what happens is the clock keeps turning forward. I never seen the time go backwards. I've always noticed it goes forward. So time is very precious. You understand? You cannot get your time back. You cannot buy health. You cannot buy happiness. You cannot buy certain things in life. You know, other things, yeah. I mean, monetary you could buy, but time is a very precious commodity, and you have to put the time into use to for your advantages. And there's seriously no time to be down. So if you're down because I let's say I failed on an issue or a subject, I get back up, you know, I brush myself off, and I move along. Now, by failing, you know, that taught you what not to do and what you need to do. And if you do it again, that means I don't know what to tell you, you know. You just gotta better. You have a stone, right? You're carrying, and the stone is heavy, and you just gotta let that stone down, and that is a stepping stone of, you know, further going up and elevating yourself. You use that stone to elevate. You don't carry that stone with you, you know. You have to be very expressive and open. And you have to also interpret your feelings to people. It's very important to interpret yourself to people. Don't carry that pain inside of you. Even let's say you're not to blame and someone else is to blame, or doesn't matter what it is, be the bigger person, you know, apologize, you know, even though you're right and not wrong, you know, because two wrongs don't make a right, you know, that's for sure. So one person has to compromise regardless. So apologizing, being sincere. Um, uh, and that's what has led me more to successes. And I have been failed. I'm not saying as a kid, I've learned a lot growing up. And Yeah, I mean, it's part of life. It's part of life. But in the end result is you utilize it. It's an experience. You tried, and you moved on.
Barak, it's been fantastic. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I know you mentioned your book before, but for those that want to learn more about you, maybe they want to connect with you, possibly even vote for you, how can they do that? Where can they go?
Please utilize my platform. My website is www.barak, that's spelled Barak, Z as in zebra, I-L, B as in boy, E-R, B as in boy, E-R-G.com. Yeah, enter my platform. There's all my policies there as to how I want to lead the country. Furthermore, I'm on Instagram, Barak Zilberberg. I'm in Twitter, X, Barak Zilberberg, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. Just go in there and check my content. You know, it's very interesting. And I look forward to serving all of you out there, and all the American people and the world. And again, so we're all family. We're all friends. You know, may God bless America. May God bless the world. May God bless you all. And always keep in your hearts love and positivity. Uh, Negativity is okay to hear, but deter and be more positive than negative, and that'll help a lot. Thank you for having me on the show. I was very appreciative. I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for again having me on. It was just amazing. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Live a prosperous and a healthy and a happy life. I wish you and all of you out there who are listening into.
Thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Those that are listening, feel free to subscribe, share the show, tell others, and also leave a review wherever you are listening into your podcasts. Barak has been fantastic. Thanks so much, sir. I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to keeping in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.